Oh, hello, my gays, my straights, my matriarchs, my 7.2% patriarchs. Welcome to another episode of the Millennial Matriarch Podcast. I am your host, Alexis, and I am joined by my Bravo pink sweatshirt wearing. Oh my God, we both have tortoise glasses matching at Headband Girly ATD. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm here. I'm on my energy drink era right now.
5:30 p.m. your time, you're drinking an energy drink? That's a bold choice.
I know it's like a little reckless, but I've been dabbling lately, and
What energy
it's
drink
just
is
been
it?
giving me a little. Well, it's an Alani. It's their new flavor called Lime Slush.
Oh, that sounds good. I do the Alani pre-workout powder, so I get it. I love an
Oh,
Alani.
can I tell you, I've never done pre-workout.
So I don't typically advise pre-workout, but because
Okay.
it's a powder, I do a little bit of it. It just makes I have to just control it. I remember I did actual pre-workout forever ago before a spin class, and it caused me to go too hard. I thought my heart was going to stop. Like I left the
Yeah.
room. My heart was like, ba 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 ba.
Yeah, I think I'd be afraid.
But this, I just take a little bit of it and I put it in my water when I go to the gym in the morning, and I basically use it like caffeine. I mean, I guess that is what pre-workout is.
Alexis is microdosing pre-workout. on a
Yes, I
regular
am microdosing
basis.
pre-workout.
Honestly, this is a half an Alani. It's not a full. So you could say I'm microdosing too.
I also feel like I need to say, for those who may celebrate, happy St. Patrick's Day. Or St. Patty's Day. I never say St. Patrick's Day. I was just trying to pretend to be formal. Does Texas do anything for St. Patty's Day? Is it like a thing? Because obviously here in Boston, it's like every bar ejaculates.
I'm sure people do celebrate. I'm not aware of any big celebrations happening in the city. Also, right now is South by Southwest in Austin.
Oh,
So
duh.
the city's sort of like taken over by like techie brands just doing activations. I
Yep.
actually signed up for and was successfully taken off the wait list for the Unwell event. However,
Are you going to go?
well, it was Saturday. They let me know 20 minutes before the event started. I was coming out of a workout, so I was like sweaty and disgusting. And it basically said like we can only like guarantee your spot the first 30 minutes of the event, and then we're going to give your spot away. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to get there with the traffic, and be in a way that I would want to be meeting Alex Cooper. So I let it
You know
go.
what this reminds me of? It's like why you can't stay on the wait. Like if I'm on a wait list for a workout, I always cancel before I go to bed. I'm a morning workout girly because it's like,
I took that risk this morning.
did you get off the wait list?
When I went to sleep last night, I was number 9 on the wait list, and I woke up at 5:45 because it was a 7 a.m. workout. When I woke up, I was off the wait list. I just trusted that it would be all good.
But anyway, I'm sorry you didn't get to go.
No, that's fine. It's okay. It's like the 3rd year in a row that she's done something here, and I've royally fucked it up. So I think maybe next year, if we're lucky enough to have it again, I think I'm going to join the wait list, and I'm just going to keep the day clear, and I'm just going to be ready
Smart.
for it. And maybe I'll like get dressed and be ready. Worst case scenario, I'll just go to one of the other trillion like open
That's
events
true.
that they have downtown, you know?
That does sound fun.
I usually don't go to like South by events, but we did like something random for date night this week. We went to their animated shorts program. So like we went
Wait,
to
that
a
sounds
theater.
cool.
It was cool. We went to a theater, and like it was 10 different animated shorts, and it was like all different kinds of animation. And then there was a little panel afterwards, and the directors got to talk about like the process and like something I would have never signed up for. And G was like, should we try this? And I was like, sure. And we went, and it was a great time. So you know what? Like the tattoo on my foot says, embrace the unknown, people.
Is that what it says?
Well, it says it in Spanish because I'm a basic bitch who studied abroad in Spain and got her first tattoo in Spanish. And you know what? No regrets. I love it. Still love it.
Regrets.
Still, honestly, it's the best tattoo I have in that, like, it is still so pigmented and, like, isn't stretched out or weird. Like, it's
Really?
so well done. And at the age of 19 years old, do you think that I was doing proper research on tattoo parlors in Madrid,
I
Spain?
was
No, I was not.
no.
I got lucky as hell. And not only that, but I came to the shop with a translation and they were like, "Oh yeah, like that's not like the what you're trying to say in English is not that's not quite the right." So they actually like the very last minute like made sure I had like the correct
I
translation.
love
They
that.
really I hope they're all doing well. They really did the Lord's work. And yeah, no regrets.
No regrets. Well, anyway, folks, my favorite episodes that we do are our full mouthful episodes. So today we are going to be talking about all of the spoilers. So this is your heads up. I know we've spent a lot of time talking about TV, but I got to do it. I'm sorry, I have to do it. I need to talk about Age of Attraction, and then we're obviously going to talk about Love Story.
As a millennial, we grew up sitting in front of the TV. This is what we talk about, people. We got other stuff to talk about. We got other stuff that's, on my mind. And don't worry,
It's
guys,
cooking.
I've got something to complain about per usual. So that will be brought up.
We're going to start with Age of Attraction, which is the new dating show on Netflix. It is basically a social experiment where you've got people of all ages who meet in what I'm going to describe as an adult Girl Scout camp because it was really giving camp vibes. And they date each other, but the catch is they don't know how old everybody is. And I will say the one thing that I liked about that at the jump was that the audience doesn't know the ages of the people. So before we get into the nitty gritty, I need to know your initial reactions.
I think we brought this up a couple months ago. Like it was announced as like it was coming. So I think we missed back then. As we very well know from this podcast, I'm typically an elder dater. Not anymore. I'm in retirement. But I certainly was attracted to this show, no pun intended, because I do believe that age can be just a number within reason, with the right context. My initial thoughts are, I don't know that I'm jiving with the format. People can look older than they are. People can look younger than they are. But when you're a 22-year-old looking at a 45-year-old, you might not know that they're 45, but you can tell they're much older than you. So
Correct. I agree.
So this show begs the question, well, don't they have eyes? Love is not blind. That's not the show we're on.
It's not.
To be clear, to be super, super clear for anyone who has not yet watched, although we're going to do spoilers. So if you don't want to hear this, skip over like a lot of minutes. Because the format is not, they're like behind a curtain and they're talking to each other and they don't know how old. They meet each other. They actually do, the first episode is them, like it's like 20 something people, and they basically do like a speed dating
singles mixer
situation. So you can see that this person is clearly older or younger than you or possibly the same age. I mean, there's definitely some shockers, right? And we'll get into it. There's some people where I actually gasped when I heard their age, but we're not talking like, oh my God, they were 20 years older than I thought they were. Like I knew that they were older than this person that they were dating. So those are my initial thoughts. Is like, I just don't know if I'm jiving with the format because it just is a little silly.
So do you know what Biggie noticed that I didn't, and I've got to bring it up. So, Biggie, good on you. The show for the first 5 episodes that are out winds up following 6 couples. However, at the end of probably episode 2 or somewhere in episode 3, I can't remember exactly, they show you the other matches where their ages were closer, and those folks are not who they film.
Why show us? It was so weird. They showed us like a 1-minute montage of all the people in the experiment that basically like quote unquote chose each other towards the end of this like initial boot camp situation. That's a terrible word for it.
You said boot camp. I said Girl Scout camp.
Yeah, I took it way too far. Wasn't that severe? But yeah, they were in some sort of fucking cottage in Vancouver. It was very parent trappy, like summer camp. Yeah, they show you this 1-minute montage of all the people that have chosen each other. And there's like a good like 6 or 7 couples where they're like, I'm 38. And then they're like, I'm 37. And they're close in age. But those people, they're not part of the show for the rest of the season.
No.
They were close in age. They don't fit the mold.
Unless they come back.
Why show us that? Why show us that? It's so bizarre. Like now hey, if you ask me, these people got the best deal. They found someone who they like. They don't have to marry them. They just have to be like, hey, can I have your number? I like you. Great. They find out that they're the same age, and now they don't have to be cyberbullied for the rest of the season. They get to just go and date this person or not. It's a great deal for them. But as a viewer, I didn't understand the point. Naturally, I assume there's going to be some people who get together that are close in age. It would have been more realistic if they kept a couple of those people in. But
At
now
least
they are
one.
truly just making it all about the phenomenon of a much older person with a much younger person.
Can I tell you, off the jump, episode 1, there was a lovely young man who was in his 20s named Tristan. And when he came out here and said, I knew I was attracted to older women and brought up Kim Zolciak, I was actually surprised that he did not make it further on the show. But I guess he didn't match with anybody.
Oh, he was babyface boy. He's the one who
he was
really
babyface, and he was looking for a mama. In my opinion,
he was looking for a mommy for sure.
He for sure wanted an older woman.
I am also so grateful for your attention to detail, because if there's one thing about me, I don't remember any of these people's names. They don't matter enough to me yet. So thank you so much for your research and your diligence and your notes.
I had to write down the names because actually, fun fact about me, I forget names for people all the time.
Okay.
So I specifically, in that moment, while I was cooking breakfast, went and wrote down his name. Because don't give me too much credit, because it wasn't until episode 4 that I realized Nick Viall and his wife were the hosts. So don't even.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
When I first put it on, I was cooking, and I heard them talking, and I guess even though I've listened to his podcast, I did not recognize his voice.
I don't even know how to feel about that, but their whole thing is that they're 18 years apart, so they were kind of the perfect hosts for this. And I actually think, for not being like someone who's in the public eye, Natalie's doing a fantastic job as a host. Like, she's really natural.
Yeah, I mean, who knows how many takes they had to do to get what we see, but it looks great. So the first match that we see on the show is John and Teresa. So John is 27 and Teresa is 54. If you find somebody that you date and you like, you go into what is called, is it the promise room?
Promise room, which I kept getting thrown off because every time they kept saying, like, I'd love to go to the promise room with you. And I kept thinking that they were just going to say, like, the prom. I hate this concept of the promise room and the rings. We should talk about that.
If you find somebody that you're dating and you want to go to the next phase of the experiment, you take them in to the promise room. That is where you reveal your age. So you exchange promise rings, which what in the Disney star celibacy ring is this? I don't agree with the promise ring thing either.
Because
but
again,
whatever.
This is not like Love is Blind where they're getting engaged or they're getting married. There's none of that is, I mean, that might happen as we get towards the end of the season, but that is not part of the experiment. It's really just, it's almost like, so do you want to be boyfriend, girlfriend? Like, that's basically what this is. But phase 2 also means that they have to move in together for a certain period of time. Like, that's what the experiment leads into. It's like these gold bands that they have to exchange. And I did notice a few of them were putting them on their right hand, which I respect. As
that's what I couldn't figure out. I get confused when it's opposite, the hands like that.
It might have just been a coincidence, but as a married woman, or actually before I was married, even before I wanted to get married, I was always very anti, well, I never put on a wedding dress before I was engaged. I never wore a diamond ring. I never had a promise ring from a boyfriend. And it's not that I'm against it for everyone. I'm just against it for me. And I don't know if it's superstition as much as it's I don't know. It's it's an internal ethical thing. I don't care if other people do it. But for me, I was just I'm never going to wear a diamond ring on that finger. I'm never going to put on a wedding dress. Even if it's just for a gag, no, until I'm engaged, I'm not doing that. And so yeah, there is a part of me that's sort of like annoyed by this whole promise ring thing because I'm like, they literally just like decided to like be boyfriend and girlfriend. Like, you don't get a promise ring for that.
Unless you're in like 8th grade.
I don't know if I had any friends that did this growing up, but like the millennials did do that. We did like give each other like promise rings like our high school boyfriends. Again, I didn't. I don't know anyone who did close to me, but apparently you did.
Well, I was in 5th grade, so don't at me too hard. But anyway, like I was saying,
You're forgiven.
John and Teresa are the first. We were taking it to the promised land. He's 27, she's 54. Immediately, this is what I did not go back and clarify. He is 2 years younger than her oldest son. Does she have a 29-year-old son?
Yep.
Would you still be able to date somebody if you, and I know we're speculating here, and I know you don't want kids at all, but would that be a deal breaker for you?
It can't be a deal breaker because the whole basis of this experiment is that they see if there's an initial spark before they decide to reveal each other's ages. So even though it was clear that he was much younger than her, it wasn't clear how much younger. His age had nothing to do with her. I don't want to say falling for him. I don't know if they're in love, but like his age had nothing to do with them realizing that they had a connection. If that guy said he was 35, I would have believed it. That's how much older he looks compared to how old he is, which is 27.
Yeah, I think he looks like he's in his early 30s. No, but I'm asking you, if you found out that you were, say you.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that like if I had like already realized like I like this person and
You
then
already gone
found
that
out,
far.
but it definitely would be a factor. You're also talking to someone who always dated older. So I don't know, maybe I couldn't. Like I think like I would just feel I think that I would feel like I was going to eat them, chew them up and spit them out.
I have definitely noticed that with some of the dynamics, like Vanessa and Logan. Vanessa is 49, I believe, somewhere around there, and Logan is 29. There's two pairings where it is people that are in their 40s with people that are in their 20s. And I will say Vanessa is the one that's been engaged 4 times, but has never been married. And there is something about her from the second she got on that screen that I don't know. I don't know if it's that she comes off as being insecure or what, but I definitely have to say after we got out of, the promise room and then they move in together, there were some dynamics where I felt like you couldn't help but see that age, older, younger, play a role. I think Vanessa and Logan was one of them. And then the second one, Vanelle and George. Not George.
Jorge.
Sorry, Vanelle. Vanelle and Jorge. So Vanelle is 27.
I'd date Jorge. I dated a guy just like Jorge once, not that old.
Jorge is 60.
I was shook. I could tell he was a good amount older than her, but not 60. Holy crap.
I didn't have 60 on my bingo card either. I did not have 60 on my bingo card. You know what stood out to me about them? And this is before they go into the promise room. I have it in my notes. There was something that felt to me very paternal about Jorge. Like there was something about his energy and the way that his responses and the ways that he would interact that I kind of felt like he was touting his life experience. I mean, hard earned, well deserved.
With her specifically? Like you
Yes.
felt like that's not good.
Who am I to say?
Since we're full caught up, she was super into him. Super into him. This is actually the couple I have the most to discuss.
Let's dive right in with Vanelle and Jorge. Take the lead.
Vanelle says to Jorge when they're in the promise room that she is celibate. She is not a virgin, but she is celibate because she's recommitted herself to God and has chosen to not have sex again until she's married. Great, you do you. Jorge meets her with a very gracious response and basically says to her, it's not an issue.
Yep.
And I beg to differ right then and there. And here's why. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist or a slut like me who dated older guys to know this, but I'm just going to go ahead and say, as someone who dated older men when I was still a virgin, it's a problem. If it's not a problem now, is going to be a problem. And guess what? If he had turned to her and said, I am 60 years old. I maybe would like to get married again one day, but I'm 60. I have been married. I have had children. I'm not having sex before I marry someone. If he had said that to her, I would have totally understood.
Yeah.
He doesn't. He's very gracious. It soon becomes an issue, but it becomes an issue for not the reason you'd think. And this is fascinating. I'm like, did they not know that they were mic'd or what? Because there's all these behind the bedroom door scenes with a few couples where they're clearly in the bedroom of their now shared apartment and the camera is outside and all you're hearing is their audio. And what we're finding out is that they have done some sort of intimate act. They've basically
Oral
gone down
only.
on each other. Yeah, because he says like, so what would you call what we just did? Because is that okay what we just did? And she was like, I'd call that oral
Oral
intimacy.
intimacy.
And so I'm going to assume he either went down on her, she went down on him, or vice versa. And then he talks about how she was like on his lap, like basically grinding on him until she had an orgasm or he had one. I'm not really sure.
Yeah,
Again,
I didn't get the clarification on that one. Yeah.
we don't have the full context. We're just listening to this portion of audio. But basically, I say all of that to point out that she is engaging in some physical activity. And listen, you are entitled to do physically what you want and not what you don't want. No questions asked. Whatever you consent to is great. As long as there's consent, it sounds like there was, that's golden. But I can understand for a grown ass man how that is very confusing to him. And that is basically what he, I think, is very nicely saying to her is, I'm just a little like confused. Like we got in the moment, like that was okay, but like penetration isn't. And I think that there is a point in adulthood where there's really not much between what they were doing and a P and a V. And I just feel like if you've recommitted, I don't want to get into a whole religious debate, but if the point of your celibacy is because you've recommitted to God, from what I'm aware of with the whole rules of the road of Christianity, is that you're not supposed to do anything like that. Which is why the whole like the Mormon of it all that we've heard of, there's other stories about soaking and
Soaking.
bullshit like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense because you're receiving pleasure. The whole point is to reserve that for your partner. I'm not saying I agree with that, but if that's the place that she's coming from, then what she is doing with him is inherently not aligned. And that's what he's trying to say. And I think he's saying it in a very, once again, gracious way.
So this is my problem with him. Even in episode 1, end of episode 1, early episode 2, when you started to kind of see the two of them together, there was something about him that just didn't add up for me. The problem was after they go to the promise room, he is talking to her at some point about wanting to have kids one day, and he doesn't want a bunch of baby mamas, but he never tells her that he already has kids.
Yeah, that
So
was weird.
So from that moment, I will fully admit it, I kind of didn't trust him anymore because obviously, if you're going in and you don't know people's ages, you're not getting into the nitty gritty, that's one thing. But I do think the other couples who have kids, right? Like Pfeiffer and Derek has kids. Andrew and Andrew his kids. Teresa and John, Teresa has kids. That all came out in the promise room.
That's another thing. They were allowed to talk about their children and the ages of their children. Doesn't that kind of also give away how old the person might be? Sorry, I just have to add
yeah,
that.
I think there was definitely some gray area, and like this is season 1, we'll give it to him. But what's really upsetting to me is that as of episode 5, I still do not know if Vanel knew that he had kids. Now,
Yeah.
I don't know if that should be a factor, but I could not get that out of my head. And then for me, when they are having that celibacy conversation in the promise room, to me, I was totally on board with what you were saying. I did feel like he was very respectful, and it seemed like he was very much like, listen, like that is your promise. That is, that's your religion. That's your faith. I'm not going to interfere with that. And I think, listen, I have never been someone who has been celibate for religious reasons. So I don't want to, I can't speak to what I haven't felt, but, I'm sure there is a gray area, and I'm sure there is an added gray area when you have an adult that has had sexual experiences. I will always say this. Once you have sex, it is so easy to have sex again.
Totally. Totally. Which is also why, even though I'm kind of like dogging her, I do want to express the empathy that I have for her, because I don't know how you go back. Like, I don't know how you do it and then you just don't do it ever again until you're married, which could take forever. Like, so I have a lot of empathy for the confusion that she is probably going to, but the problem I have with her is that she's not just saying, "You're right. I'm confused too. I'm feeling all these things for you. This is the first time in a long time I've had this type of connection with someone." This potentially is the first time where her celibacy is being tested.
Questioned. Yeah,
But she's
tested.
not
Better word.
saying that.
Tested.
She's not saying that. If anything, she's doubling down and being like, I don't get what you don't understand. Oh, so this is a problem for you. And it's like, no, Vanel, like, he's just expressing his confusion.
But that's where I think the age dynamic came into play, because I couldn't help but kind of feel like it kind of felt a little patronizing to me. And again, we are hearing like hushed whispers through like a bedroom. Obviously, we're not there. We don't know the full extent of the conversation. But there were points when I felt like he was really, really questioning like what her boundary was. And I don't know that she maybe I don't know if she 100% knew her boundary, and I don't know how to navigate that.
I think what might have happened was they were doing foreplay, and I think maybe, who knows, he doesn't seem like a pushy kind of guy to me, but I think he thought, "Oh, well, she'll probably break. It's not like she's a virgin. She's had sex before, but she's probably going to break on the celibacy thing."
Oh, I get what you're saying.
And then maybe he got nervous when she didn't. And so he might have been honest in the promise room when he was like, "Oh, this isn't an issue." But then as time went on and she was so physical with him,
Yeah.
which, by the way, no issue here. It doesn't mean that
Yeah.
her boundaries shouldn't be respected. I think he just kind of went into dude mode and started
Yeah.
thinking with his dick and thought, "Oh, there's an opening here. Like, there's a potential." And then maybe he got shut down a couple times and then got nervous and then was like, "Oh no, now I'm in a relationship with this girl and I told her her celibacy was fine, but I'm realizing it's not fine." Baby boy, I could have told you it wasn't going to be fine with you for a long time.
I hope there's a reunion. I'm curious.
So they're like my first couple that I had like a lot to say. And then the second is Teresa and what's his face? John.
Teresa and John. Yes, that is my second couple.
I'm devastated for her because I think it was maybe it was episode 4 or 5 where Natalie and Nick tell the couples that the next step is meeting each other's friends and family.
Yeah, it's the end of episode 5. I literally just watched it.
And you could literally see it on Teresa's face. It dawns on her.
Yep.
And she says as much, that they are no longer living in a bubble and that she is going to have to, or at least consider, introducing her children to John. And it's like fully dawning on her that she is literally twice his age. He is 2 years younger than her son. She starts like hysterically crying and she has to step away. And I think my initial thought was like, girl, you knew this was coming. But when she said the thing about the bubble, I'm like,
yeah,
I think that she's like falling for him. I think she's falling in love with him. And I almost like started crying. Like, I can't relate to this very much, but I could really understand. Like, I think she's really falling in love with the man and she is picturing her kids being not okay with it. And because she loves and adores and respects her children, she is worried that she is going to have to make a choice. And we know what her choice is going to be. It's going to be her children.
She says it. She says that they come first. It's them. Yeah.
But it's almost like she is already anticipating having to say goodbye to this love. And I feel so bad for her. And I am praying that her children are cool, because the beauty of this experiment is that they didn't know how old he was. So if anything, like, I was the child of someone who was telling me, I'm dating someone 2 years younger than you, but they told me like, I basically like fell for the person before I knew their age, I would be uncomfy, but I think I would have some understanding of like, oh, this literally isn't about age. This isn't about like my mom trying to be a cougar and like thinking she's had shit and catching someone young. Like this is truly about who this person is. And I just really don't want her to have to like make a really hard
Yeah.
decision. And I don't want her kids to be like assholes. Like, listen, when you're 12 years old, like some of these contestants have younger children. And so I think it's hard when you bring a step parent or try to create a blended family. I'm sure that that's super difficult. But I think when you have older children, when you have adult children, I think as an adult child, you have to remember that like your mom, she's just a girl. Your dad, he's just a boy, and they deserve love too. And I just hope that her children exhibit the adult maturity that I think this relationship deserves because they feel like the real deal to me.
Biggie and I watched this, and he looked at me. Obviously, I have talked about a lot that my mom is no longer with us. And he said, how would you feel if your dad brought home someone that was, you know, your age, 33, and now my dad just turned 70? And he even said, or if he brought home somebody who was 40. And I said, 40, I feel like I would be more okay with. Like,
Right.
because in my mind, even though Biggie is 38, 40 feels further away for me. He's like, it's really not that far away for you.
Like if this John guy was 35, the way he looks, I don't think it would be as big of an issue.
See, I don't know, because I do have to say, I didn't think so until Biggie said, how would you feel? And then I was like, oh, I think I might feel a certain way. Like, and I would love
if your dad brought home a 40-year-old?
No, 40-year-olds, I feel like.
That's what I'm saying. If John was the way that he looks, if he was actually 35 and not 27, which means he was 6 years older than her oldest child.
Yeah, but he's not. He's younger.
Okay.
But he's not.
I'm
He's
just dreaming.
younger.
Maybe they should just lie.
And I also want to sit here and say that I would have an open mind. I want to sit here and say I would have an open mind, but I'm going to be quite honest with you. I do not know. But I do have to say, I feel like the two of them are fucking and it's really good. And I'm really fucking happy for Teresa because she's hot. She is hot. And they are getting it, which is why I think Vanessa's so jealous. Vanessa's like, I want to get it. Vanessa has pick me girl energy.
Yeah, because the story with Vanessa and Logan,
Yes.
I literally had to pull up a cast chart. Am I right in that the issue is that Vanessa kind of wants Logan to jump her bones, but he's kind of holding back?
Yes.
Yeah. And she's 20 years older than him, and she's like her insecurities are showing. And that feels odd for a
Yes.
woman of 49.
Okay, I think this was Vanessa and Logan, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but they do have an intimate moment. It's another mic'd bedroom. We're seeing behind the door. You know, we don't actually know what's going on.
Yes.
And then I guess Logan might be like a 2-pump chump. And, you know, Vanessa kind of gets on him and he was like, hey, like it's been a minute. And I just want to say this, anybody who is not respectful, also, the first time any two people have sex, like that's not going to be the best sex of your life.
Absolutely.
Like you're all kind of like
each other's body.
Right. But you've already had this conversation where he's like, I'm kind of trying to take it slow. So like give the guy a fucking chance. And honestly, I'm going to sound like a real big bitch. I'm like, this is why you have 4 rings and no altar.
Yeah. I mean, she's kind of, I'm not saying I'd be just like her, but that whole like kind of like cutting him down and like,
especially right after sex, that is the worst time.
I don't know if I would do exactly that, but I feel like I would be like that if I dated someone significantly younger than me. Like I would chew them up and spit them out. Like I would just be like, do you, because she says, she's like, so like, you do know what you're doing, right? And it's like, like how demoralizing must that be for him?
He's 29.
But also like, this is if you're that type of person, you shouldn't be dating younger.
You're like, well, she didn't know.
Because it's clear she already doesn't respect him because of his age. She actually strikes me as someone who would benefit from dating someone older than her, not younger than her.
I agree with that.
Like she's attracted to him and she wants to be them, but I think that she has allowed the age thing to seep into her respect or lack thereof for him. And that sucks for him. But I also think he's not super into her. So
I'm going to tell you the 2 couples that surprised me the most. And I actually think that there is something there. Pfeiffer and Derek. I like something about seeing the two of them together. Pfeiffer's 23, Derek is 43. Derek has two kids, one or two kids. I can't remember exactly
He
how
has
many kids.
2 boys.
And there is something, and Pfeiffer kind of gets into the fact that she's like been through some shit in her life. She seems much more mature than 23.
Yeah. I was shocked she was 23.
Me too.
I didn't get them at first, and then I very quickly was like, "Got it."
Same. And I think it's because we didn't see a ton of them.
Yeah, and that's the way it goes, right? It's like
Right.
the
You're
couples that are doing the best and have the less controversy get the least amount of screen time. The Love is Blind reunion that aired this past week, they even said that about that couple that like basically like they didn't even go to Mexico with them. They went to like the Hamptons or some shit for their vacation because they were perfect and they were. And I was so glad that they were on the show because they were so perfect for each other. But it's like those couples never get airtime. But yeah, they have a lot of similar hobbies. They have a very similar like sense of humor and playfulness. And when she was like talking deeper, like you said about her experiences, I was like, okay, yeah, I think that's what levels it out for them.
The other couple that I want to see more of, and I'm actually excited to see this dynamic, is Libby and Andrew. So Libby's 22, Andrew's 38, and Andrew has two daughters. And Andrew's oldest daughter is 14. So Libby
Yeah.
points out, she's like, I'm actually closer in age to your daughter than you. I don't know. Andrew comes out and says, he came on this experiment to try to date someone that's not his type, and he's chosen someone that is his type.
He's been dating younger girls in his recent dating history, and now he's doing it again. He keeps saying things about her that or almost like to convince us as the audience that she's more mature than she is. And I don't see in her what he sees in her. And guess what? I'm not the one with her. So that's none of my business. But I'm not seeing what he's seeing. Like they'll have a conversation. He'll be like, oh, like I'm so glad we got deeper. And I'll be like, was that deep? So I don't know if like he is also not a very deep person or if he just wants to fuck her and doesn't want to admit that she's probably not a great fit for him. I'm sorry, Libby. Nothing wrong with you. I just don't see the match.
The last couple that we've literally talked about every single couple. We need to talk about Lee. Is it Lee or Leah? Leah or Lee? I can't remember. And Chris.
Leah and Chris snore.
Snore.
The only comment I have is regarding Leah and that one scene where he in his interview is saying like, I don't like need to be with my partner all day, every minute, and then cut to them like getting home from brunch. And he's like, oh, like I'm going to take a shower and like take a nap. And she's like, what? You're going to like leave me and like go take a shower? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to go take a shower like by myself. And I don't know if it's just this one scene and the way they edited it that made her look like a stage 5 clinger, but I found it surprising because I'm like, you're a grown woman. Stop it. Stop it. I'm also a person who really loves their alone time. So
I feel, and maybe it's because you've been living with your husband longer than I've been living with my husband. But when we first got together, that was like we both had to figure that out because we do both like our alone time. And I will say, I do think that and some of my other friends that have moved in with their partners, like that is a dynamic there.
what do you mean? Like doing everything together?
I mean, I don't want to do everything together. That's not my style. But I do think if you're talking about, two adults who either live alone or had a roommate, but they've been able to operate their lives as these single people. And when I say single, I mean like literal individual. And then you're moving in with a partner. And, again, obviously this is an accelerated timeline for the fucking TV show, so that doesn't help. But it's like, yeah, you don't want to be around them 24/7. At least for me. Like it's
Yeah,
like
for sure.
I need to have my trash TV time. That's just me. That's
Yeah.
just me. And he needs to have his video game time, he meaning my husband, where it's just him.
I guess I knew enough about myself. And again, I dated my husband for like a year and some change before we moved in together. So we also got to sort of know each other.
Right. I know. It's
Before.
like the
These people don't
accelerated
have that
timeline doesn't help.
luxury. But I also think like know thyself. Like when we were he was just like obsessed with me and begging me to move in with him. And I was like, okay, but like I need to know that like we don't have to like eat the same meals and like do the same dinner every night. And
Like, you guys don't eat the same things?
I think I have like food issues. So I just was like, I
Oh,
remember like
okay.
one of my like worries moving in was that like we were going to have to like plan meals together. And I was just like, I don't like I would love to cook for you sometimes and like vice versa, but my meal times and what I eat like shouldn't affect you. Like I don't like if we decide to have dinner together, we decide, but I don't want to have to like have dinner tonight together every night. Like I don't want to eat the same thing you're eating. And I don't sometimes I eat dinner, sometimes I don't eat dinner. So like I was very like cautious about that. But that is one example of like a larger smattering of things where one of the points is similar to you. I really like to binge watch TV and he likes his video games. So it's like we knew that about each other. We knew
I love the together, not together sometimes. Yeah.
there's a comedian who does, and I'm totally spacing on the name, but there's a comedian that does a bit about like, I want you like here, but I don't want you like here. Like
Yeah.
I want you near me and by me, but like I don't want to talk to you. And it's
Yeah.
like so spot on with how like I feel in my relationship. But I bring it up because to circle back, it's like know thyself. I think that you have to know, like, am I a person who does like my independent time? And listen, the guy going to take a shower doesn't mean independent time. It just means he wants to go take a shower. But if what he's feeling is that he needs more alone time, decompression time, he needs to express that to her. And if she's a person who really likes to be sort of like attached at the hip to her person, then she needs to tell him and then they need to find a way to compromise. But that like one scene just like made me feel like bad for her, but also like, girl, what are
Bad
you
for her
doing?
and annoyed. You're like,
If I put my devil's advocate shoes on, the only other thing I can think of is that maybe because they were filming that day, she's like, what am I going to do in the living room with the cameras? Like, why are you leaving me? Like, it might have been that, but she maybe was trying not to break the fourth wall. That's the best I can do.
we're going to continue this recap we're going to have, once the season completes, we're going to have to bring it back because I need there to be a reunion specifically for Vanelle and Jorge. Like and I think this is because as of right now, that's the only couple that is now. So if you did not watch, Vanelle and Jorge they have gone split skis. They are out
Over.
of the experiment, which I actually do think was the right move. I feel like that separation,
Absolutely.
but she's heartbroken about it. Like you could tell she's very upset.
I think she
And
loved him.
yeah, 100. I do think she felt a very strong connection with him. And she even says it. So I guess we're going to find out, does age really matter?
Keeping it on the TV journey for just a little bit longer. I know we've talked about Love Story, the Carolyn Bessette Kennedy and John F. Kennedy Jr. story. I'm not fully caught up, but I know you are up to this point, which is what, like episode 7?
This is episode 7 of 9. Yes.
Okay. So I'm fine with spoilers, keep it going, but I still have thoughts from like the wedding episode. I love this show. I just love this show.
I love this show too. And I
It makes me
feel,
feel warm and fuzzy.
but part of me feels bad for loving the show. And I don't know if you've like seen anything online, but like a lot of people are coming at Ryan Murphy because like none of like the Kennedy family wasn't consulted about this show. Daryl Hannah
It's always something.
is like really upset about the way that she's portrayed.
Who?
Some of the Daryl Hannah. So that's the girlfriend. That's JFK's girlfriend.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Yes. The
It's
actress.
okay.
Splash. Yeah, big fan.
And she's saying that some of it, that her depiction is completely inaccurate and misleading. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there. I do love the show. And I think that I love the show because it is a love story. And you're like watching these two people fall in love. But I do think it also brings up like the paparazzi of it all. And just listen, the paparazzi in this year, 2026, from what I understand, because obviously I'm not a celebrity and I don't have enough cameras in my fucking face when I try to walk out of the house. But the lack of respect that the paparazzi had for people in the public eye, especially at like that time.
It's almost like a hill type of flow chart if I think about like paparazzi and culture. I
Yeah.
think like that 90s period, especially with JFK Jr. specifically, and the fact that again they were living in New York, like there was an and still is. There's an access to celebrities that live in New York that you don't get for celebrities living in like LA or Atlanta or Nashville, because you're in such a condensed city that someone literally walking out of their apartment building, like there's like legally there's no stopping anyone from like approaching or being near. Like it's just the way that it works. But I think specifically JFK Jr. and Carolyn were kind of like the first like eruption of like paparazzi taking it too far. And then I think it got worse and worse the more that like tech developed and social media came about. I mean, I think like the early 2000s, like the way that like Paris Hilton, Britney Spears, Hilary Duff, Lindsay Lohan, Nicole Richie, the way that like those people were treated in the early 2000s to me was like the peak of like paparazzi disgust. Like
Yes.
just the level. And I know I've talked about my distaste for Perez Hilton many times. So I feel like that was the peak, but the late 90s was like the initial like liftoff. And now I feel like, and I've heard celebrities say this in podcast interviews today, things have really dipped off. And I think the reason is it wasn't really until that peak that there sort of became like more rules and regs. I mean, there's a lot of other countries, Dubai specifically, where like Lindsay Lohan chose to live. They have very strict laws about paparazzi. There's other countries that have very strict laws around photographing children specifically. But I feel like there's been some ethical boundaries that have been created here in the US. But I bring this all up because I think there were no rules of the road
There's no
in the
rules.
90s. It was the first of its kind. Magazines, newspapers, tabloids were erupting. It's invasive.
We obviously JFK Jr. is a Kennedy. You cannot choose the family that you are born into. That is your family. So, and they talk about that on the show, like he was born into this family where he was just in the public eye. And I think it's not lost on me that somebody who was so in the public eye and like, the show portrays it like he's on first name basis with some of the paparazzis that are out front. He winds up marrying somebody who is so, so private.
Yeah.
And my heart breaks because you're watching, it's like, what? Should they not be together and in love because she's
Yeah.
a private person? And it's like, do you fault him for being in the public eye?
That's the big struggle point of their getting together. It comes up again when he proposes and she basically says no
No.
and then later says yes. It comes up again when they're trying to get married off the grid. Oh, that episode was so beautiful.
It was so
It was
beautiful.
I almost cried. Like I was
I
like
loved that episode.
and to go back to the criticism you were talking about that like Ryan Murphy's getting and people and how they were depicted. I mean, listen, we haven't talked about the Wuthering Heights adaptation on this show
I
yet.
haven't seen it. Have you watched it?
Yes, and literally like I think it changed my brain chemistry.
I want to go see it. I want to see it.
I went in with absolutely zero expectations and I came out and I was like, that was a piece of art. Like it was gorgeous. But what I love about it, and the reason I bring it up now, is that the director truly emphasized that this is an adaptation, not a one-to-one with the book. And I think it would behoove future creators of shows, movies, to consider marketing that way.
I mean,
Because
that's every episode starts with that disclaimer.
I know, but we've seen dozens of shows like that. I think that it would really benefit the marketing of it all to be a little bit more forthright, even if you feel that way or not, to just say, guys, this is an adaptation of a piece of a story that no one will ever 100% know. We will never
But do
know
you think
what
it makes a difference because Wuthering Heights is fiction and these are people's lives? Like these are actual people. Isn't Wuthering Heights fiction?
Of
I don't.
course, of
I was like, I
course.
want to
It's a
make sure.
fictional book, but I think I just think that would help future directors, writers, creators of shows and TV and movies if they're going to delve deep into scenarios that no one would have ever been in because who was ever in Carolyn and JFK Jr.'s bedroom. No one will
Right.
ever know the conversations that they
Right.
had. Because apparently the audiences are not smart enough to deduce them themselves or to read that disclaimer at the beginning. Guys, this is not a one-to-one with what really happened. This is a TV show. It had to be enhanced. And guess what? It's again, a beautifully done piece of art. Just take it for what it is. Listen, I'm not Daryl Hannah, so maybe I would feel differently if I was featured, but come
Yeah.
on with the critics. Like, it's a piece of art. Leave it be. And you know what? Not a lot has been created about them. The fact that it's been
Yeah.
27 years. This is like the first of its kind to come out about them as a couple. I think it's a gift. I think it's a beautiful gift that Ryan Murphy has given the people and, frankly, that family. And they can choose to accept it or not, but they have to remember, like, it's not that fucking serious. Like, it's a show.
I think it's tough. I think like I love the show because I love that I'm seeing, you know,
Yeah.
it's a beautifully well done show. I think it should get whatever awards and accolades it may get. Like I do think it's beautifully
Oh,
done, but it's like
it better get a fucking Emmy.
Paul Anthony Kelly, who plays JFK Jr. Oh my God. I feel like he nails it. Even Sarah Pigeon, who plays Carolyn Bessette. And
I'm
I
so
think it's
happy for
great that
them.
they weren't super well known before. I love that these were people who, I mean, I'm pretty sure I saw in an interview that this was one of, if this wasn't Paul Anthony Kelly's like first like big role, it's one of.
Yeah.
And, Sarah Pigeon has been an actress for some time now, but they don't have it's like you got like Gwyneth Paltrow up there.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, which also kind of would have been a slay casting move, but and when I say no name, I don't mean any disrespect, but I really hope that that it was a conscious decision
yeah,
to go with a no name, aka someone who isn't, objectively like a A-list celeb. Like I
yeah,
hope, I wonder if that was intentional, because god damn it, did they nail it. Like,
yeah.
cuz I really, and I think that's part of it. I feel so sucked into the world
Me
because I'm not
too.
distracted by like a big celebrity. The show is celebrity enough based on the people who it's
Yeah, that's
about.
my problem with like Nicole Kidman sometimes is I get like caught up in the fact that she's Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, who oh my gosh, I cannot believe that I am blanking on Naomi Watts, who plays Jackie O. But I
Yeah,
mean, I think the makeup was really well done. But again, she's not
yeah.
there through the whole show. The point is, I'm not distracted by the glitz and glam, and they've really created like a whole world. And yeah, I think I'm just super passionate about it because I don't get super passionate about shows like this.
Mhm.
Obviously, we're very passionate about reality TV. I watch fictional biography based stuff all the time. I don't know. This is just so well done. I feel so good about it. And god damn, that wedding episode.
Did they really fall asleep on the beach the night before their wedding? I need to know because if they
I
did, that's
don't
so
know.
romantic.
It makes me want to go back and like do it all over again and do it like
At the Unabomber church?
there was such a casualness to it. Like I know there was the snafu with her dress.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
like, even, like, there wasn't too much makeup, there wasn't too much hair, it was a simple dress in a simple place, and, like, the fuck tradition, they saw each other the night before and, like, had a little moment together, like, it just, and I don't know if it was real, I don't care. The depiction of this, it was so lovely, and, like, I could feel, like, the love just, like, bursting through the screen, and the speeches, and, the speech her mom gave, about, when she was a little girl and she sat with, she didn't sit with her friends because she wanted to sit with the girl who would get car sick if she sat in the back of the bus, and, that's the kind of person you have now, John, so, like, you need to be conscious of it, like, it just,
Yeah.
it's
I thought it
beautifully
was a
written.
really beautiful episode. I thought it was a really beautiful episode.
Yeah, and I think that's as far as I got, like, that episode 5, which is that's all I have to go off of.
Yeah, there's only one more episode after that one. You're only one episode behind.
Okay. Oh, fabulous. Well, then I will watch that after this and get caught up.
Episode 7, which I did like basically kind of just watch, that is where you see the craziness of the paparazzi, which is why I think it came in a little hot with
Okay,
the
okay.
paparazzi.
I feel like it's all downhill from here. Like the bad
Well, it
stuff
is. There's
starts
only
to
9
happen.
episodes.
I know the bad stuff starts to happen and I don't want it.
You know what it is? And regardless, it's like you're watching two people who like really love each other. And I do
Talk
think
about
that that's such a
choosing each
beautiful
other.
thing. Choosing.
It would have been easier for them to been like, no, not going to work.
Yeah. Oh, wait. How did I not say this? This entire show makes me want a cigarette, a newspaper, an espresso in my fucking balcony.
And just like, and like a pair of jeans and a black t-shirt, white t-shirt.
She was the queen of a capsule collection before it was like a capsule collection, like a capsule wardrobe.
Yeah.
There is something about somebody, one of my best friends is also like this, who is just effortlessly stunning. Like,
I know.
can
I
throw
fucking
on
hate
a
it.
pair of jeans. You know who it is, but I'll tell you after. Can throw on a pair of jeans, can put on a sweater, can grab a leather bag, and just looks like she just walked off a fucking runway.
Yeah, just
And I
stunning.
think that's because their insides glow so much. Like, they're such beautiful people on the inside that I do think it radiates.
Yeah, I hope that that's what it is. So I'll work on that. But yeah, have you seen all of the people on social media who are like trying to recreate Carolyn Bessette looks in their
Yes.
like outfit of the day, and then
Yeah.
conversely, all of the hate that those people are getting. Like there are like fashion commentators and even like people who have no fashion background who are commenting on like the trying to imitate Carolyn Bessette Kennedy is in and of itself anti Carolyn Bessette Kennedy.
I'm like, okay, that's where I'm like, it's not so deep. Let the girl,
I'm
let
so
people recreate.
inspired. Also,
You know what? Everybody's where do you think people get inspiration from the fucking runway? Let people look at these Calvin Klein jeans and a J. Crew sweater and like call it a freaking day.
and let's not pretend that right now that 90s fashion is back with a vengeance. It was
It
back
really
before
is.
this show started airing. It is
Yes.
going sky high right now. You're welcome, Calvin Klein. But not that he needed help, but here we are. But it was already 90s was already back.
Yeah.
So
I'm with you. I love it.
It's cyclical. Trends come back. But yeah, it kind of makes me want to throw everything out in my closet and like start over with just like 5 pairs of pants, 5 t-shirts, and like a couple bags, and that's it.
And that's it.
I won't because I have a problem, but it does make me want to. But speaking of fashion, if we can deviate from Love Story, I just was like, I don't know. I was reflecting today. I had the opportunity to shower and like put a different pair of clothes on other than my workout outfits before we started this episode. And I was thinking about like, it used to be so much easier to get ready.
I'm going to need a whole lot more details.
You got it. I think the reason I want to tie it back to Carolyn, because you used words like effortless.
Yeah.
Effortlessly chic. And I think that has like a little bit to do with like youth. And now listen, you will not catch me saying that at the age of 33 years old, I am old. I don't subscribe to that bullshit. But I just feel like when I was younger, I could just like, you could call me and be like, let's go out for Sunday fun day drinks. I'll see you in 20 minutes. And I'd be like, great, I'm there. And I would feel, and I could, if I wanted to, I could throw on a little makeup, put on an outfit and meet you in 20. Now I feel like when I have to like get ready for something, do makeup, do hair, put an outfit, let's say girls' night out, let's say a date night. And these are circumstances where I do want to look like a little more like put together.
Yeah.
I need like an hour and a half minimum. It often takes me more time to get ready than it does the actual outing. I just feel like it takes so long for me to like figure out what I want to do with my hair, put on my makeup, and I like to like kind of get ready slowly. Like I don't like to rush it.
So this sounds like a you problem.
Okay, maybe. I guess I'm looking for validation here from the masses. Sorry you don't feel that way, but like I just don't feel like, listen, I'm not high maintenance. I will get up like this, or like I was looking this morning and go meet you for Sunday fun day. I'm just saying if I'm wanting to feel a little bit better and like put a little effort in and put on an outfit and some jewelry and some makeup, it just feels like it takes so much more. And I don't know if it's like a youth thing because I feel more confident now than I did when I was younger. So it's not about confidence. I just feel like it's like exhausting.
Do you wear more makeup now than you did when you were younger?
Yeah, that's definitely part of it.
So see, I wear less makeup now than I
Mm,
did when I was younger.
yeah.
Like, I mean, listen, I grew up in New Jersey. I used to do like a full fucking smoky eye to go to, when we first went to college, I was doing a full fucking smoky eye.
That's true. I'm not doing eye looks like I was back in the day,
Yeah.
although loved a smoky eye. Yeah, so maybe that's a little bit of it. Like it's more about the skin now than it is about like the eyes.
Yeah.
I don't know. And listen, maybe this goes back to my hair issue, which by the way,
I was
hair
gonna,
appointment March 29th. We're gonna figure this shit out.
we're gonna figure it out.
Yeah, I finally booked it. So yeah, and maybe it goes back to that. Like, am I just like developing new like bugaboos about my look now? But I don't, it's more of like an effort thing. Like I'm
I think
okay,
we're
like
more
found the
critical
outfit
because,
and then I had to try on a couple tops until I felt good about it. And now we got to pair the earrings with it. Like I don't remember thinking so much about it when I was younger. I just remember being like, that's what I'm wearing. That's how I'm going to do my makeup. And I did it and I went. And I could do it quickly and I didn't put much thought into it. Now I feel like so much thought goes into like, what am I packing for the bachelorette trip? Like, what am I wearing on girls' night next
well, I feel
Saturday?
like trips are not fair. That's not a
Okay.
fair example. A trip is not a fair
Okay.
example. Especially a bachelorette where you know that you have to have certain looks. There's going to be a lot of fucking pictures that are
Bad example.
taken. Yeah. Trips, I don't think are fair. I think the Sunday fun day example is a great example.
Yeah. That's really more of it, of what I was thinking.
Well, I think your hair woes are definitely not helping, but I think, you know what I think it is? We work from
Tell me,
home.
doctor.
We work from home so much more. Like, I think because we spend so much
Oh, yeah.
time at home now that when we like go out like for a girls' night or we are going on a date night, like you said, or even like just like whatever, I think that came with COVID.
Yeah, like maybe it's circumstantial.
Yeah.
I'm usually in an athleisure set,
Yeah.
like that is what I'm living in 90% of the time. So when I do even put on a little bit of makeup or put on a pair of pants that have a button and a zipper versus a drawstring, it
Yeah.
feels like a lot of effort.
Yeah. I don't
That's
disagree.
so sad. That's so sad. I hate that for me.
Start putting on a jean
I
to
mean,
work.
I will say at least once a week, like I make myself like do a whole thing, like put on an outfit, put on some makeup because I like it.
Yeah, me too. And that is something, listen, I am not trying to go back into an office with any kind of, actually maybe ever. Um, but there was something about like getting up, doing your makeup every day and like putting on an outfit and like, getting out of the house like that. And listen, for all you people out there, I know there are some people that do put on makeup every day when they're not leaving the house. That is not going to be me. And that is not me. Like if I'm going to be at home, I'm not putting on like a full face. I'm just not. And I think that's what it is. I think that
Yeah,
because, I mean, I've worked from home since COVID.
yeah. Well, that's kind of why like the making myself get ready at least once a week is like I
Yeah.
know it's a goal because I know it'll like just make me feel good and get me just back in the habit a little bit more. But also, there's something about like wearing jeans like just in and around your house that feels wrong. There's
No,
something
I'm with
about
you. I'm with
where
you.
I draw the line is shoes. I love being barefoot. Like, I just love being barefoot. Like, I love summer, like 90% because like I can wear sandals. I just love like my toesies out. Alexis just pulled up a croc. I don't know what that has to do with this conversation. A croc is different. A croc is not a sandal just because it has holes in it.
No, I wear Crocs inside my house because I don't like
Oh.
to wear shoes inside. But I felt like my feet needed some kind of like support, so I have Crocs for inside my house. Because
Hmm.
I'm with you. I don't want to wear a shoe inside my house, but I felt like I
But I
was,
like to be bare.
oh, I can't do that. But it was hurting my feet. Like,
In the winter, I wear slippers, like obviously just for like to keep my
yeah.
toesies warm, but I like to be bare. So like that's where
Oh,
I draw the line. I'm like, I'll put on like a full face and a pant with a button, but I'm not fucking wearing shoes in my own house.
Yeah, I'm not doing the shoe, but I can't do the barefoot. I got to have something.
Listen, if anyone else feels this way, please let me know because, per usual, I need to be validated in my complaints.
Well, on that note, if you want more of our daily chaos, hot takes, and semi-responsible wisdom, follow us on social. The Millennial Matriarch Podcast is on Instagram and YouTube. We are at the Millennial Matriarch Pod. Ashley is at Millennial Mind of Ash. I, Alexis, am at _millennial_matriarch. We are on TikTok and Instagram serving questionable decisions, comforting truths, and the occasional wait. Am I the drama? Spoiler alert, yes, always yes. For more episodes of the Millennial Matriarch, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Substack, and on YouTube. Please rate, review, subscribe. Until next time, drink some water, trust your gut, get a fucking capsule collection wardrobe, and remember, you're the matriarch of your own fucking castle, so act like it. Love you, mean it. Bye.